جزاك الله خير. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اخرجني من ظلمات الوهم واكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات. Today, for some cultures, is when we mourn Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. And for other cultures, it was yesterday. Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, for us, is one of the key figures in Islam who displayed many qualities in Karbala. He displayed qualities that we all wish to have, such as bravery, power, self-control, and patience, and many more. The quality I want to focus on today is his power and bravery, and maybe from a different outlook. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, إِنَّ الشَّدِيدَ لَيْسَ مَنْ غَلَبَ النَّاسِ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّدِيدَ مَنْ غَلَبَ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ. He says power is not when you overcome people. He says power is when you overcome your nafs, yourself, your lower self. Al-Abbas is someone, so in terms of power and bravery, I want to look at bravery from this aspect, from controlling the nafs. Al-Abbas alayhi salam is a prime example of this. We always look at Karbala as a tragedy of how Ahlul Bayt were slaughtered and massacred, and how it was a war against the enemies, a physical war, a war of physicality. But in another way to look at it, a more powerful way to look at it, is the war within, in which many of the companions and the Ahlul Bayt went through on this day. Al-Abbas is someone I want to focus on today. Many of us know the story of when he wanted to get water for his Ahlul Bayt. He went and fought valiantly so he can get the water. And he was thirsty for many days. And when he brought the water in his hands, he was thirsty. And you can see with his beautiful words how he was fighting himself for this, to fight the temptation. What does he say? يا نفس من بعد الحسين هوني وبعده لا كنت أن تكوني هذا الحسين وارد المنون وتشربين بارد المعين تالله ما هذا فعال دين. He says, O nafs, after Hussein you are humiliated, you are debased, and after Hussein you no longer exist. What is meant by this? This, as for what I talked about previously in terms of self-knowledge, and talked about the approaches to self-knowledge, the mystical approach, which is takhliyah. This is where he shows that he is atkhalla an nafsah, where he disassociated himself from his nafs. This is the peak of spirituality, the peak of ma'rifat an-nafs, self-knowledge. When he says, this is what we call fana', where he has annihilated himself in the Lord. Imam Hussein, we know, is an infallible imam. An infallible imam represents the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he says after Hussein he no longer exists, this is saying that he no longer exists in terms that his existence is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his nafs is meaningless without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is one lesson we get from him. And another way to see how he disassociated from his nafs, we see when the enemies cut off his right hand. He says, وَاللَّهِ لَوْ انْقَطَعْتُمُ يَمِينِي لَأُحَارِبَ أَبَدًا عَنْ دِينِي. Then what else does he say? يا نفسي لا تخشي من الكفار وابشري برحمة الجبار. He says, Wallah, by Allah, if you were to cut off my right hand, I will still fight for my deen. You see, even his pain is for his deen. And then afterwards, what else does he say? He says, Ya nafs la takhshay min al-kuffar wabshri bi rahmat al-jabbar. He says, oh nafs, he's reassuring his nafs like it is another entity, like he has separated himself. He says, do not fear, but have happiness in Allah's mercy. Have hope in His mercy. This is the station he's reached. This is a true arif. This is what we all wish to achieve. There is no man like Al-Abbas alayhi salam. So brothers and sisters, an outlook we should all have is not to view as Karbala as just war physicalities, but we should always view Karbala as a war of the self. As we all know, our greatest enemy is the nafs. And we know in Karbala, this was greatly shown by many of the companions. And Al-Abbas alayhi salam, when he disassociated himself. And we all wish to win this war within the self. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Salawat. So inshallah, for the program, quick announcements. So there will be a bonfire inshallah today with the respected Sheikh after the majlis, after his lecture. And there will be also a discussion and dinner with Sayyid Hussein Mekki on Sunday, August 7th, this Sunday, starting at 1:15 p.m. It is open to all brothers and sisters from ages 13 to 35, and Al-Mahdi Youth hopes to see everyone there inshallah within that age range. Now, if we can please welcome Brother Mudassir to recite some Marsiya with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.